We are here, and we are to announce this year's GISH. We're calling it ChangeALife, but it's really misnamed because we're going to try to change a few hundred lives. And Giles, do you want to? People were guessing where you were traveling from the airport, and I think a lot of people got it right because you actually gave some pretty good clues.
Mm-hmm.
But would you like to tell us where you are right now and what you're doing there?
Well, good evening from Kigali in Rwanda. We are here to do an amazing project helping women who survived the genocide to rebuild their lives.
For those of you who don't know, there was a horrific genocide in Rwanda. 800,000 people were killed in 100 days in 1994, and a lot of the killings were done, neighbors killing neighbors. It wasn't some invading military force that came in and wreaked havoc on the country. It was just this horrific uprising from within. Giles came to Rwanda 4 months ago because he was working on a story on genocide survivors, and on that trip he met a woman named Olive. And do you want to tell? Would you like to tell Olive's story?
So when I was here a few months ago, I was meeting a lot of these survivors and hearing these incredibly moving, upsetting, traumatizing testimonies. Among those testimonies, I heard one of the most remarkable stories I've ever heard of this woman called Olive. Now, I'll tell you a story very briefly. Olive was actually giving birth to her third child. She was in hospital when the genocide started. Literally, as she is giving birth, her village is attacked. It's attacked by these militias that go in there. They kill her husband. They kill her two children. They kill her parents. They kill her grandparents. They kill her brothers and sisters. They kill every living family member that she has. And Olive gets this news as she's lying in hospital giving birth. The situation gets worse when the militias then surround the hospital where she is. They're threatening to come in and kill Olive and the other women that are hiding there. Eventually, these militias storm into the hospital. They start taking Olive and the other women away. Olive makes a decision to leave her child in the hospital in the hope that it might survive. She's taken to a market. In the market, there's 1,200 people who again are slaughtered that day. Olive survives by literally underneath the bodies. The bodies land on top of her. She hides there for 3 days. So her story is an amazing story of survival and loss. But really where the story for me gets remarkable is what happened afterwards. After the genocide, she returned to her village because she wanted to bury her family. And this was several months after the genocide. But when she gets there, nobody knows where the bodies were taken. Nobody knows what happened to her family's bodies. But what she does find, and this is what I love about Olive, Olive finds 6 babies that survived. And when she decides the best thing she can do is adopt them. So this woman who has lost everything, she chooses to adopt these 6 babies, the survivors of the genocide, and she brings them up as if they were her own. Now, that on its own is remarkable. But what made Olive's story stand out to me and why I wanted her to be the basis of this project is what happened when she returned back to her village many years later. Many of the killers, many of the people who were involved in the genocide had been released from jail. Also, there was an amnesty. So she's living in a community where she sees every day the people that killed her family. When she walks to the market, when she goes to the shops, when she's out in her garden, she sees the perpetrators of these crimes. Now, how would any of us react? I think most of us would have anger, would have want retribution. Not Olive. Olive decided the only way this community could move forward is if she forgave everybody. So that's what she did. She went and she found each person one by one and forgave them for what she did to their family. Now, I don't think I would have that strength in me. I don't think many of us would have that amazing strength. But then what happened is that those perpetrators, the people that killed the family, they started to go to her house and started to help her rebuild it. They helped in the gardens. And then one night, this is 10 years after the genocide, one night, there's a knock on her door, and is one of the killers of her family. And he said, I'm here to show you where we buried your family. And they took her that night to a mass grave where 350 bodies were buried. The government came, they resumed the bodies, and in Olive's own words, she goes, that's when the whole community was able to finally put their loved ones to rest. And she believes it was only possible because of her forgiveness. So really that's why Olive's story moved me so much. Not the horror, not the terrible things. It's the fact that this woman, this incredible woman, not only adopted 6 children to bring up as her own, but she chose to forgive the people that killed her family so that the community could rebuild itself.
So remarkable. And and when you approached her a couple of days ago, yes, and let her know that we were going to be trying to start. We sort of haven't told her exactly what we're doing, but you know, you let her know that we were going to try to help her. Yeah. She is joined into a small collective of about 25 women in a farming collective, correct? And you let her know that
so
we were
again,
trying to at her collective, and what was her response?
Well, again, just to explain a little bit about the collective. When I visited her the first time, you know, I often ask the people I meet, is there anything I can do for you? Is there any way I can help you? Olive didn't ask me for any material help. She simply said, make sure my story is heard. So this never happens again. That was her only wish. But I did find out that she had this small collective of other women who had survived the genocide, who grow potatoes in a very tiny little field because they want to be self-sufficient. They want to stand up on their own. So after going away and thinking about it, I thought, well, the best approach would be if we could find a way to expand this project, to give them a bit more land. 25 women in this collective. So I went back and I saw Olive, and as I said, I didn't want to give away anything. I didn't say exactly what we were doing. I just said, look, if I was able to help you, if there was a way, you know, what's best for you? Could we help the 25 women to set up a farm? She looked at me and she didn't look very happy. And I thought, that's strange. I thought she'd be really excited. And after a little while, she said to me, she goes, she said there's 4 different cooperatives in the area. And she said, I'll only do it if we can help all 4. So that's 100 women. And I said, well, we may not be able to help as much. And her words were, I would rather that we have less so that everybody has more. And that to me is the most beautiful sentiment of a woman that really has so little, that really has gone through unimaginable horrors. When presented with support, she said she'd rather that support to be shared.
Well, I can't thank you enough for identifying her and this community, and for all of the work that you've done to be here. But I also can't think of a more worthy recipient than Olive and her community of women. And I really think us Gishers are going to be up to the task of helping them. So our goal, if we can raise $100,000 and buy 3 hectares of land, is about 8 acres, is which will fund the farming capacity of all of the collectives, be able to really produce enough food and revenue from those potatoes to support their families. And that $100,000 will also buy them tools, and it will help them set up a market stand for them to sell produce.
Yeah. There is one deal with this, though, Misha.
What's the deal?
Well, this is a collective of 100 women, but they have said that they will make you a member of the collective.
Really?
But to become a member of the collective, they need to see your digging skills.
Oh, okay. I can dig. I'll dig.
So I need a few digging to show them, and then maybe you can become a member of the collective.
I'll be an honorary member of the collective if I can prove that I can dig.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, I'll be sending you a video.
There's your challenge.
I'll dig the shit out of my front yard. That's amazing.